The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
Jesus said to his apostles, "Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And whoever does not take up his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. Whoever finds his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Whoever receives you receives me, and whoever receives me receives the one who sent me. Whoever receives a prophet because he is a prophet will receive a prophet's reward. But whoever receives a righteous man because he is a righteous man will receive a righteous man's reward. And whoever gives only a cup of cold water to one of these little ones to drink, because the little one is a disciple, amen, I say to you, he will surely not lose his reward." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
So there's an inscription above an old Greek monastery. Must be in Greece. It's probably written in Greek. But it says, "If you die before you die, when you die, you will not die. If you die before you die, when you die, you will not die." Kind of makes sense? Okay, the goal in life is to die, right? You can avoid taxes, you can't avoid death, right? So there's no boy in the lobby of the hotel and motel this morning getting a banana. It's all masked up, you know? And so I walked down there, I said, "Oh man, beautiful day, right?" And he kind of grumbled, "Well, it's overcast outside." I don't know, he's probably from the East Coast or something, complaining a little bit. And I said, "This is the day the Lord has made," right? He goes, "Well, any day that you're alive is a good day." And I just looked at him and said, "Life's about dying," and walked away. And he was just like, he was like, "Who is this?" It's true. Life's about dying. Jesus says today, whoever does not take up his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. Whoever finds his life will lose it. Whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. All right, this is the crux of the Christian life. Crux means cross in Latin. This is the crux of the Christian life. This is the tension we experience in this life. And this is the counterculturalness, the counterintuitiveness of the gospel. Like, it's not natural for us to want to die, but yet that is how we find life. Right? That's what Jesus is telling us today. Life is about dying to self. All right, that's what he's getting at. Dying to self. And in dying to self, we actually find life. Right? We actually find life when we die to ourselves. So what are some concrete ways of actually doing this? Your vocation is your cross. Okay, my vocation is my cross. Your spouse is your cross. Okay, I'm not just offer it up kind of thing. No, she or he teaches you how to die to yourself. How to live for someone other than yourself, right? By nature, we are selfish, okay? It's part of original sin. We are selfish, right? And it doesn't come natural to be selfless, so we need some help in that. So Jesus gives us help. He teaches us on the cross how to be selfless, how to die to self in order to live for the other, in order to live for God, right? This is what our Lord means when he says, whoever finds his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life will find it. There is life in death to self, because then we live for God. We live for someone other than ourselves, and that's how we just expand and live and be open to life, right? We do this in our vocation. I see my dad doing it all the time. My dad lives for my mom. He does. It's a beautiful witness, okay? We can do that. It's not always easy, but it's beautiful. We find life. John Paul II would say, man can only find himself through a sincere and honest gift of himself. Man can only find himself through a sincere and honest gift of himself, right? Life is about giving, right? So, I think about all those many people who are divorced. What do they usually say? Well, I'm just not happy anymore. I'm just not happy anymore, so I'm going to peace out. Right? Really, you got married to find happiness. We got married for the wrong reasons. Okay? Getting married is teaching us how to love, and in love is where we do find happiness. Happiness is kind of a third result of loving, right? If you love right, you do find happiness. But if you're just finding self-seeking gratification in the other, it's probably going to fail, right? That other cannot carry that kind of load for you, right? Only God can. We can only live for God. And we do that through living through our spouse, giving ourselves through our spouse. Okay, what about me? I believe everyone has a vocation. Okay, everyone's got a vocation, no matter what stage in life you are. Even if your spouse died, you still have a vocation. You can still consecrate yourself to the Lord. Okay, that's what I've done as a celibate man. I have consecrated myself to the Lord. 5 years ago on Friday, Friday, I celebrated my 5th anniversary of taking a vow of celibacy. And what did I do in that ceremony? I laid face down in front of the altar. I laid prostrate. I gave myself to the Lord. I died to myself in order to live for Christ. That's why clerics wear the black, because we're dead. We're the living dead, right? But we're the living alive as well, right? Because we live for God. That's the beauty of this consecrated life to the Lord. That's the beauty of celibacy. Celibacy is fearless. Celibacy is meant for intimacy with God. So I think I just want to kind of go off on celibacy a little bit. I think of what's a good image of celibacy? And maybe I've used this analogy before. You ever seen the movie Band of Brothers? It's an old war kind of movie based on World War II troops that just fought hard. Right? They're a band of brothers. But my favorite character in the Band of Brothers is Sergeant Steele. Steele was fearless. He's a rough character too, but he's fearless. Right? There's this time where they're in a battle, crossfire going on, just shooting across the street from each other, Germans and Americans. And the Americans was Steele there, run out of ammo. And they're like, man, we're out of ammo. He's like, where is it? It's on the other side of the street. Steele just drops his weapon, runs across the crossfire, gets the ammo, and runs back. And both sides are just stunned. They stop shooting. They're like, what the heck is this guy doing? Running across crossfire. He's totally fearless. Right? And he comes back, gives them the ammo, and they start fighting again. All right, so there's that scene. There's another scene where there's a greenhorn that comes in, new guy on the block comes in. He's in a foxhole, just terrified, holding his rifle, just shaking, scared, can't move. Steele happens to run up to say something, and he goes, man, what's wrong with this guy? And they're like, I don't know. He's just going crazy. Steele looked at this guy trembling. He looked at him and said, know what your problem is? You haven't died. And then Steele takes off. Steele had died. He had already died. He was fearless. You couldn't kill him because he had already died. Okay, that's what we live as celibates, but that's what we live as Christians. Take up your cross and follow me. Whoever loses his life will find it. That's the kind of fearlessness we have in this life as Christians, and particularly as celibate men and women. So I encourage you to try taking Jesus at his word, right? Whoever finds his life will lose it. Whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. That's where real life is at. My brothers and sisters, the goal in this life is to die to self in order to live for God.